Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. In this video I want to cover another exciting project, and that's iExec RLC. Now RLC token stands for Run Lots of Computers, and that's because these guys are creating a marketplace for blockchain-based decentralized cloud computing. Now this is a fascinating industry. I've covered Golem a number of times on the channel. I'll talk about other competitors at the end of this presentation, but it really was a pleasure researching this project and the cutting edge technology that they're using for this cloud computing. So reinventing cloud computing, the next generation, we know that the Ethereum blockchain has enabled the development of all these decentralized applications. Now the problem being that Ethereum and a lot of blockchains in their current form are inefficient at storing and computing large amounts of information. It can be very expensive. So what iExec is trying to do is take a lot of that computation off-chain to complement this ecosystem of applications and work in the background to distribute the computing. Now, they are planning on being blockchain agnostic in the future, so NEM, NEO, any of these platform-based cryptocurrencies, we can move the computation off-chain. So what is cloud computing? Now you've heard this term a lot, no doubt. The easiest way I can describe it is if you've got a website or any online business, as it scales, you need more and more computers or servers to process all the information. You might not have the capital to afford those computers, or you might not have the physical storage space to store them. So you're outsourcing the computing power to other people that have, dedicated servers. They've got the infrastructure, or they've got these databases. It's stored somewhere else. You use it when you need it. It's easier for your website or online business application, whatever it may be, to scale. So all these different devices are talking to this information that's stored or processed somewhere else. Now this falls into three main categories. So you might have heard these terms: software as a service, so outsourcing the software or outsourcing these platforms, but outsourcing the infrastructure is the one which a lot of projects are trying to disrupt this industry, I guess. And iExec is no exception here. They're really focusing on building applications in this marketplace, but also creating a computing marketplace for all the infrastructure to be bought and sold between users that have those computers sitting there. They're not being utilized. So it's fantastic. Everyday people will be able to sell their computing power. So currently we know those web giants that dominate this industry: Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, IBM and Google. It's very centralized, it's expensive. This is another industry that's going to benefit greatly from blockchain technology, but not only that, but the security of having that distributed ledger technology rather than the legacy infrastructure. So powering applications. So obviously the focus and what everyone talks about is the high performance computing side of things, but this is so much more to this. So think Internet of Things, think all these different applications that are completely decentralized. I'll talk about that app marketplace. Apple, you have to jump through so many hoops to get listed on these app marketplaces. So this is a decentralized app marketplace itself. Fog computing and edge computing was something else I found very interesting which reading about today. So obviously, we're outsourcing to the cloud, but that's not always efficient. If we've got Internet of Things, lots of little devices, it's not efficient to outsource that information and that processing to a cloud. So some computing and some storage can be done closer to the actual network itself where we need it, and then we can outsource other things. So whatever's more cost efficient, and that was pretty interesting stuff to read about there. We've spoken about 3D rendering and other computational intensive sort of processes that this is perfect for, and a lot of these other things we've spoken about a number of times on the channel. Big data being a hot commodity, AI being a growing industry as well. So let's check out the team. Now I looked through some of their histories here. Some of the guys have literally been working on solving this problem of distributing computing power since the year 2000. So nearly 20 years now. These guys have finally sort of found that solution through blockchain technology, smart contracts. Computing power itself has got exponentially better. So this is the sort of marriage of all those things I've been working on and researching for a number of years. The founders, and then obviously the team's grown recently into over 20 members there, as they're saying, hackers, marketers, top-notch team here, and it really is a good quality team here, guys, considering their stage of development and how quickly this has all come along as well. So They've got some fantastic partners. I know something that talk about a lot in the white paper is environmental factors as we continue to need more and more computing power in the future. So check out some of their partners there. I'll dive into some of the awards they've won as well, but they're definitely building a good network of partners and apps. So here's their current app store. So I think over 20 apps here. They plan to have 50 apps on this by the end of next month as well. And that's what builds this community and this network, real world applications and people using this technology. So all these apps are being run in a decentralized fashion in the version 1 of this technology that they currently have running. They've won a few prizes recently here. So they did win this award at the Digital Herring Awards, Top 100 in Europe. Now they took this event home as the leading startup with the most promising new business model. That was only yesterday, and only today they've announced a partnership with Ubisoft. So this is being part of the Ubisoft Startup Accelerator Program, one of 4 companies chosen to work closely with Ubisoft for the next few months. So no doubt that'll greatly benefit them as well. Now I'll go to the top of the page here, back to the start of their roadmap. So they've been around since 2016. They've already got some good partnerships here, as I've mentioned, some of the good apps that have joined early. But their ICO was the 5th largest at the time, raising $12 million. It sold out in 3 hours. And since then, similar to Golem, they've really gone behind the scenes to work hard. So that version 1 was released. Now this was, think of it as quite centralized. So it had a number of companies, running those servers, trusted entities to distribute the computing power to. That was version 1. But version 2 is being released at the end of next month, and that will be the first ever decentralized cloud marketplace for computing power. So pretty exciting stuff. And then there's obviously further iterations and developments down the line as well. But this decentralized marketplace where anyone can sell their computing power is going to be launched at the end of May. So that's why I wanted to cover this project today. I think it is flying under the radar. So this industry itself, it's a no-brainer, guys. We live in this digital age. We've spoken on the channel a number of times about the number of apps, Internet of Things, all this computing power that's exponentially growing. It's all around us. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry controlled, in the hands of a few. They only need to capture a tiny % of market share to become a significant player in this space, and they're already developing those partnerships. Check out the white paper. It's only 31 pages, a good read. As I said, it was very interesting to go over this stuff today with a fine-tooth comb. Keep an eye on their Reddit. This community is very small. Another reason I think this is flying under the radar, when you consider that at the time they had the 5th largest ICO in history, and now it's just a small community on their socials as well. So there's all those little things I look at when picking things that haven't been hyped yet. So competitors, I've mentioned Golem a number of times on the channel. Sonem, there's Darty, ALF. So a lot of these are doing similar things, but the go-to-market strategy, I guess, is the biggest difference here with iExec, where they're really focusing on these apps and building that community, rather than Golem are going down the path of building that worldwide supercomputer for all the high computational processing. Whereas these guys are going down, focusing on the apps first, and then focusing on that computation in the future. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, guys. I think this is a fantastic application of blockchain technology. They're solving a real-world problem. They're disrupting a very centralized industry in its current form. I look forward to that marketplace being rolled out next month. Let me know what you think, but that DLC token is the currency of this ecosystem, which everyone will be buying and selling their computing power with. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, guys. Please hit like, subscribe if you haven't already, share these videos around, and as always, thanks for tuning in, guys. Cheers.